Have you ever been hurt by someone who knew exactly what they did, but never said, "I'm sorry"? Maybe they betrayed your trust, disrespected you, or said something that stayed in your mind for years. And instead of apologizing, they blamed you, became defensive, or simply acted like nothing ever happened. But here's the disturbing part. Some people would rather lose you forever than admit they were wrong. Why? Is it arrogance? Ego? Insecurity? Or is there something much deeper happening inside their mind? Because sometimes a person who refuses to apologize isn't protecting their pride. They're protecting an identity they're terrified of losing. And once you understand the psychology behind it, you'll start seeing certain people and even certain relationships in a completely different way. There is a kind of silence that says more than words ever could. You already know the silence. I mean, it is the one that follows a hurt that was never acknowledged, one that sits in the room after you said, "I am upset," and they said nothing at all somewhere. In your life, there was a person like this Simeon who could wound you deeply and then look at you as if you were the one holding a weapon. You waited for two small words, "I'm sorry," and the words never came. Instead, you got a change of subject, a sudden explanation of why it was actually your fault, a long silence that stretched into days, or a disappearance so complete it felt like the conversation had been erased. And here is the strange part: these people are not always cold. Some of them are warm to everyone else. Some of them are brilliant. Some of them are the kind of person a room falls in love with, but there is a door inside them that never opens. A door marked "I was wrong," and no matter how hard you knock, it stays shut. Night, we are going behind that door, are going to look at the architecture of a mind that would rather lose you completely than say two simple words. And by the end of this, you may understand something most people never figure out: a person who never apologizes is not usually protecting their pride. They are protecting a version of themselves. They are terrified to lose. So let us begin where every mystery begins, with the moment right before the truth is spoken. Part 1. Weight hidden inside two words. In their surface, an apology looks small. Something happened at Somi admits. If he say sorry, if he try to fix it, but underneath that surface is something much heavier. Best when a person says "I was wrong," they are not just naming a behavior for one unbearable second. They are stepping into a version of themselves they do not want to exist. Think about a person who has built their entire identity on a quiet, private sentence: say, "Am a good personi, am smarty, do not hurt people, know exactly what I am doing, yo." Picture that same person discovering they hurt someone they actually care about. Woe beliefs collide in the dark. Am good Andy did something bad. That collision creates a kind of psychological static, and the mind does not always respond to static with honestism. Times it responds with defenses. So you hear things like, "Hey, you misunderstood me, made me do this, you are too sensitive, it is not what I mean, you did worse to me." So listen closely to those sentences. None of them touched the original wound. Beckhouse. Repairing the wound was never the real goal. Real goal was protecting the story they tell themselves in the mirror. They are not asking what actually happened. They are asking a much quieter and much more selfish question: how do I stay the hero of this story? That is where the real mystery begins. Part 2. Whoa, different battles and conflict shows up in a healthy mind. It asks a simple question: how do we fix this? But conflict inside a defended mind asks a completely different question: how do I prove I am not wrong? Look closely and you will see these are not variations of the same Golfi are opposite goals, and Tyrellian is loyal to the relationship. Other is loyal to the ego, and this single difference explains something that should Be impossible. We smart people burn down friendships. Why loving people lose their familiars. We capable people destroy careers so to avoid. 2 words he was wrong because admitting fault does not feel like honesty. To theme it feels like defeat. It feels like humiliation. It feels like handing someone else the keys to their own self-worth. And if a person has spent years believing that being wrong equals being weak, they build a private rule inside themselves that they may not even realize is there. Never admit fault, not even when the truth is obvious, not even when everyone in the room already knows. By that point, the conversation is no longer about the mistake. It has quietly become a war over identity. Part 3. The architecture of ego. Everyone blames the ego, but very few people understand what it actually is. It is not simply thinking you are better than other people. It is the invisible structure. Your entire sense of self is built only am kindi, am loyali, am intelligenti, am a good friend. When reality shows up and contradicts one of those beliefs, it does not feel like information. It feels like an attack on the foundation. So when a person like this hears "I hurt your mind," does not translate it as one mistake. It translates it as a threat to the entire structure. Maybe I am not who I thought I was, and that thought is unbearably so. Instead of changing the behavior, they change the story. They reinterpret what happened until it feels survivable. They shrinketh, they justify, they hand the blame to someone else. They convince themselves the other person is simply overreacting, and slowly, without ever facing a mirror, they escape responsibility completely. This is why some people can look you directly in the eyes and insist they did nothing wrong even when you watched it happen. Their mind already rewrote the file before you even opened your mouth. Part 4. Where the pattern was born. At every person who avoids apology is arrogance. Amidst this behavior was built long before they understood what was happening to them. Picture a child growing up somewhere. Mistakes were not corrected gently. They were punished. A small error meant screaming. A small error meant humiliation. A small error meant being pushed away. That child learns a lesson far deeper than words. Being wrong is dangerous. The child stops admitting mistakes. They learn to defend. They learn to hide. They learn to explain their way out of anything. They learn to survive. Years past, child becomes an adult. Danger is gone, but the nervous system never got the memo. So when someone says you hurt meth, our body does not hear an invitation to repair anything. It hears an alarm. You are under attack, and the response is instantaneous, angry, disappointed, because they do not care, but because somewhere inside them admitting fault was once tied directly to survival. This does not erase the harm they caused to the understanding. A person is never the same as excusing them, but it does explain why the pattern feels impossible to break. Part 5th difference between guilt and shame. There is a distinction almost no one talks about, and it changes everything. Guilt says I did something bad. Shame says I am something bad. Guilt is uncomfortable, but it is workable. I hurt someone I need to repair. If it is a task, shame is a different animal entirely. I am a terrible person. That is not a task. That is an identity collapsing against someone. Carrying deep unspoken shame cannot simply apologize for a mistake, because facing the mistake means facing the shame underneath it. So they defend the attack first. They go cold. They vanish. Anything at all to avoid the quiet, terrifying thought, maybe something is wrong with me. And here is the cruel irony. Hiding inside all of this, the harder they run from that feeling, the more relationships they burn along the way. The very thing they fear becomes true because of how hard they fought to avoid it. Part 6. That steals the conversation. You have felt this one before. You Sayo hurt my feelings, and They answer, well, you hurt mine first, you Sayo lied to Mevi, and swear you are always suspicious of every Oniu. Sayo should not have spoken to me that way. The answer, if you had not pushed me, I would not have noticed the pattern hiding in every single example of conversation quietly drifts away from their behavior and lands on yours. This is called blame shifting, and it is one of the most disorienting tools a defended mind can use. Sometimes they do it on purpose. Sometimes they do not even realize they are doing it, but either way you feel the ground shift beneath you. You walked into the conversation wanting an apology. Samo, you walk out defending yourself. That is the quiet power of this tactic. It does not solve anything, it simply makes the blinding yourself. That is the quiet power of this tactic. It does not solve anything, it simply makes the pinto original problem disappear into a fog. Part 7. We sorry feels like losing. For someone emotionally secure, an apology is an investment. You give up a little pride to protect something worth far more, but not everyone experiences relationships that way. Some people experience every interaction as a competition. Woe holds more power right now. How is right? Woe controls this conversation. Woe gets the final word. Seeing through that lens, an apology is not repair, it is surrender. If I say sorry, you win. If I admit fault, you gain power over me. If I apologize, I am placing myself beneath you, so they refuse. And this explains something deeply strange that you may have witnessed yourself. Samides, the person knows exactly what they did. They know it hurt ya, they know it was wrong, and they still will not say the words. Because by that point the apology is no longer about truth, it is entirely about power. Part 8. Waiting in silence. There is another pattern almost everyone has lived through. The hurt yoayu go quietly, notice the distance, but instead of Sainji, think I hurt you, can we talk? The wait, days pass, weeks pass, no thing, and eventually a message arrives as if nothing ever happened. Anyhow, have you been? What are you up to? As if the wound simply evaporated on its own. We does this happen because they are not trying to repair the relationship, they are waiting for the discomfort to fade on its own. If you bring it up, they might say, oh, I thought you were mad at. Maybe you notice the difference hiding underneath that intensity. We're never trying to fix anything, we're simply waiting for time to erase it. That is not reconciliation, that is avoidance wearing a friendly mask. Part 9. Silence becomes the weapon. Some people do not fight back with arguments, they fight back with disappearance. You confront them, they stop replying your messages, sit there unread, they vanish completely, and slowly the anxiety creeps in. Did I overreact? Was I too harsh? Should I be the one apologizing gently? You break first, you reach out, and the moment you do, the conflict dissolves with it. Them ever taking a single ounce of responsibilities creates a devastating pattern over time. Learn, if I want peace, I have to be the one who fixes everything. Learn, if I wait long enough, they always come back, and slowly the relationship becomes lopsided. Person causes the wound, other person carries the band. Against that is not healthy. Conflict that is quiet exhaustion disguised as peace. Part 10. The difference between confidence and ego. Here is something worth sitting with. Confident people apologize easily. Real confidence does not need to protect a flawless image. A confident person can say, I made a mistake, and still feel completely secure standing inside their own skin. They understand something simple and profound. Making a mistake does not make me worth less. Ego whispers, if I am wrong, I am weak. Confidence answers, if I am wrong, I can grow. That single difference changes everything about how a person moves through conflict. Strongest person in the room is rarely the one who never admits fault. More often, it is the person who can look you in the eyes and say he was wrong, he hurt you, and I am going to do better. That sentence takes more strength than most people will ever understand. Part 11, when protecting the self becomes an obsession. We should be careful here because labels can be dangerous. Not everyone who avoids apology has a disorder. Some people are simply selfish or immature or stubborn. That alone does not make someone a clinical case, but certain personality patterns involve an intense need to protect a very specific self-image. For someone like this, admitting fault threatens the entire identity they have built. They may need to be seen as the smartest person in the room, victim of every story, the one who was always treated unfairly. So when they make a mistake, accepting responsibility feels impossible because it contradicts the identity they are defending at all costs. This creates familiar patterns. Dentiglentinting in the victim, turning every conversation back onto your mistakes instead of their arguing with someone like this can feel like solving a puzzle that keeps rearranging itself while you work. Where one accusation and another appears instantly. Best. The goal was never mutual understanding. The goal was self-protection. Part 12, an apology that is not really an apology. I've heard this one before. I'm sorry you feel that way. It sounds like an apology on the surface, but notice what is missing from it. He never said him sorry. I hurt you. He said him sorry you feel hurt. That is an entirely different sentence. Here is another only I'm sorry, but you made me do it. Or fine. I'm sorry, happy. Now these are not genuine apologies. A real apology usually contains 3 ingredients: reconnaissance of what happened, need responsibility for causing it, and a real willingness to change. A notum. Sorry you got offended. Beauty, understand what I did, understand why it hurt you, and I want to handle it differently next time. Difference between those two sentences is the entire difference between accountability and performance. Part 13th, most dangerous apology of Imogene. Someone hurts you again and again, and every single time they eventually say sorry, but nothing ever actually changes. Same behavior returns again and again and again. At some point, the word sorry stops meaning anything, and because an apology was never supposed to be a reset button you press to make the discomfort disappear. It is supposed to be a turning point. If someone keeps saying sorry while repeating the same behavior, the apology has quietly become a performance. Words can repair trust for a moment, but only actions rebuild it for good. So pay closer attention to what happens after the apology. Did they actually changed it? They listened it. They take real responsibility. They put in effort. Because the truest apology someone can give you is rarely something they say, it is something they finally stop doing. Part 14, you are still waiting. No, let us turn this mirror toward you. Does someone else refusing to apologize affect you this deeply? Sometimes it is not really about the words at all. It is about confirmation. You want to know he was not imagining this. He was not being too sensitive. It happened to me, really was wrong. You want someone to validate your own religion. When they refuse, the story feels unfinished. Incalidal, a door left open in the dark. But here is something worth remembering. You do not need someone else's apology to know that you were hurt. You do not need their agreement to trust your own experience. Say you do not need them to confess before you decide what you will allow in your life. Sometimes closure never arrives as the words and sorry. Sometimes closure arrives as a quiet private decision. They may never say I am going to be alright anyway. Part 15, when to stop chasing it. This may be one of the hardest lessons in this entire story. If you have explained your pain again and again and they keep refusing to acknowledge it, at some point you may need to stop explaining, not because your feelings do not matter but there is a real difference between communicating your pain once seen spending years begging someone to validate it. can explain something clearly, you can offer someone a real chance to understand you, can open the door for a conversation, but you cannot force another human being to develop accountability. They refuse to build it the longer you chase an apology that will not commit the more power you quietly hand to the person withholding it. Sometimes the healthiest response is not one more conversation. It is distance. Seat is a boundary. It is simply accepting the truth in front of you. Part 16. What to actually do about it. So, what do you do when you are standing across from someone who will never say sorry? First, stop trying to win the argument. If someone is committed to being right, no amount of evidence will move them. Second, describe the behavior plain little. Not spend hours dismantling their character. Just say, when you did this, it hurt. Method. Watch how they respond. That single reaction will teach you more than the original mistake ever could. They get curious. They listen. They acknowledge how you feel. Do they turn around and attack you instantly? For that's a boundary. A boundary is never you have to apologize to me. Boundary is if this continues, I will step away. That sentence is powerful because you are no longer trying to control them. You are simply controlling your own participation. Finale. Pay attention to patterns instead of promise. Can say the right words one single time. Only patterns reveal who someone actually is. Part 17th lesson. Hiding underneath all of it. There is a strange truth buried inside relationships like this. Sometimes you spend months or even years trying to understand why someone will not apologize. We want they just admit it. We can't they say sorry. We don't they seem to care, but eventually a different question rises to the surface. This one changes everything. The real question was never why won't they apologize. It real question is why am I still waiting for them. That single shift changes the entire direction of your life. Because you stop trying to fix their psychology and you start reclaiming your own. You cannot force someone into self-awareness. You cannot manufacture emotional maturity inside another person. You cannot make someone value you the way you deserve to be valued, but you can decide what you are willing to accept, and sometimes that decision is enough to change everything. Part 18th. Final truth. A real apology requires real vulnerability. You have to lower every defense you have built. You have to admit that your actions had consequences beyond your own intentions. You have to accept that meaning well does not erase the damage that was done. You have to be willing to actually change it. That is difficult, which is exactly why so few people can do it. But there is something even rarer and even more powerful than saying I'm sorry. It is becoming the kind of person who does not need to be forced into saying it. Kind of person who notices the moment they cross a line. Kind of person who can sit with discomfort without immediately defending themselves. Kind of person who can say, did not mean to hurt you, but I understand that I did. That is what real emotional maturity looks like, not the absence of mistakes, but the courage to face them honestly. So the next time someone refuses to say sorry to you, not assume they are simply fearless. More often than not, they are protecting something fragile hidden deep inside themselves. Their ego, their identity, their fear of shame, their fear of rejection, their desperate need to feel in control, or simply acquired belief that admitting fault would make them weak. But remember this: you do not have to destroy your own peace trying to make someone see a truth they are determined to avoid. You can explain, you can communicate clearly, you can give someone every chance to understand, but eventually you have to choose. You keep waiting for an apology that may never arrive. Here, do you finally choose your own peace instead? Because sometimes the apology never comes. Sometimes the person never admits what they did. Sometimes they spend the rest of their life believing They were right all along, and sometimes the closure you were searching for was never hidden inside their words. It was hidden inside your own decision to stop needing them. You do not need someone to admit they hurt you before you are allowed to walk away. Do not need someone to understand your worth before you are allowed to protect it. You do not need an apology to recognize when something has quietly become unhealthy, because the strongest kind of closure is rarely they finally said sorry. More often it is simply, I finally stopped waiting, and maybe that is the real lesson hiding inside this entire story. Not everyone will find the courage to say, I was wrong, so make sure you are someone who can say it when the moment comes back. Admitting fault was never a weakness. It is what security actually looks like from the outside, and the people who can face their own mistakes are not the ones with the smallest egos. They are the ones who built something far stronger than ego ever could. They built self-awareness, and maybe understanding people like this was never really about them at all. Maybe it was always about understanding yourself. So the next time someone refuses to apologize, remember this: you don't need their apology to validate what happened to you. You can explain your pain, give them a chance to take responsibility, and still accept that they may never do it. Because sometimes the closure you've been waiting for isn't hidden inside the words, I'm sorry. It's hidden inside the moment you stop waiting for them. You don't need someone to admit they hurt you before you can protect your peace. And you don't need them to understand your value before you can walk away. Some people will spend their entire lives defending their mistakes. Don't spend yours trying to convince them they're wrong. Learn from what happened, protect your boundaries, and move forward. Because real strength isn't being the person who never admits they're wrong. It's being secure enough to say, I was wrong, and wise enough to know when someone else never will. This is Human Hour, where understanding the human mind can change the way you understand people and yourself.